I had many teachers in my life, but my son, Zach, has been one of the most powerful teachers of all for me. He had a brain injury playing football at age 16 and became severely disabled for life in a moment. Before his injury, he taught me a lot about love. I remember one day I came into his room and it was a total disaster. And I said, Zach, I will be back in a few minutes. I want this room cleaned up. And I come back in a few minutes and the room is still a mess and he's holding Soren, his younger brother, in his arms. And I said, Zach, what is going on here? I asked you to clean your room. And he said, Mom, what is more important, a clean room or a crying baby? So he just knew about loving people and what was the most important thing in life. I felt confronted even as a mom by a young child. Then second, he taught me about caring for people on the margins. He actually knew all the homeless people in Harvard Square by name, and he would take gifts to them of extra food that he had saved. So he had a close relationship with them. And third, he taught me how to love God with abandon. So after his brain injury, though he had no short-term memory, very little speech, he'll never be able to live alone, work for a living, marry, or have children. He's the most joyful and happy person that I know. He lights up every room that he walks into with his smile, and he lives in the present moment. And that's something I strive to do. I'm not very good at doing it. Secondly, he still passionately loves God. I'll never forget the night in the hospital where the nurse went in to see him after he had a second brain injury. He had just fallen 15 feet. And so he had to have another emergency brain surgery. And Zach was not in his bed. So the nurse was panicking, where is he? So she walks around the room trying to find him. He obviously couldn't walk yet. So she went to the other side of his bed, and there he was kneeling on the floor beside his bed, praying to God. And that was his pattern even before his injury. But his love for God didn't change after his accident. And then he still loves those on the margins. So if we're walking past homeless people, he will always notice them, even if we don't, and he wants to stop and interact with them. And last, besides just those on the margin, he makes everyone feel loved. His bear hugs can break your ribs. So the people in our church love receiving hugs from him when we're able to be in person. And I think the last thing I want to say is that Zach, a person with severe disabilities, actually helps me often see my own invisible disabilities. If what makes a person human is someone who is able to love God and people, Zach is the one that would come out first in my book for that.